Hi guys, wildfires are currently raging in Oklahoma, and there's a wildfire watch warning out for Kansas, Colorado, New Mexico, and Texas. When I saw this image along with the report from Many Fish about the 1,400 sharks spotted off the East Coast and how that reminded him of the iPet goat video, I thought I agree, especially with the references to the wildfires and the image of the house on fire that I've seen here. It's possible that Chalkboard could be interpreting this moment in time. The wildfires did just start up in the last week, and the sharks spotted off the East Coast were also just reported within the last week. And obviously today is one of the watch days, well, the last watch day for me, um, where I possibly think some of these events, or all of these events, or even one of these events could possibly happen. There's still a number of hours to go. At the moment, it's April 18th at 1:11 in the afternoon, 13:11, and we're just, well, I'm just waiting to see if anything pans out in respect to the interpretations that were put forward. So keep an eye on those, and then we've got the reports of senators leaving a classified briefing very unnerved, and you've got people like Lindsey Graham, a Republican from South Carolina, saying he is very unnerved by what he's seeing and hearing, and the administration is going down a dangerous path with regards to Syria, he said, without offering any details. And I just think about the fact that you've got an American president who, on the one hand, recognizes Jerusalem as Israel's capital, and on the other hand, wants to withdraw from Syria, but then attacks Syria along with France and the UK after an alleged chemical attack. And I'm just thinking it's kind of convenient that the chemical attack happened after Donald Trump said he wanted to withdraw from Syria, and that drew the American army back in to the kind of conflict. Well, not really back in because they were involved, but it kind of made the possibility of withdrawing troops in the near term a little bit impossible. So now you're engaged in this tit for tat with Syria, Russia, Iran, and things are just continually escalating. And in reference to the chemical attack, you attack before you have any concrete evidence. You have no evidence to show the public. You're saying you have evidence, but we haven't seen any. And no chemical weapons inspectors have been to the site where you're claiming chemical weapons have been used, but you launch a strike anyway. And just a couple of days before that strike, Israel decides to attack a T4 base in Syria, which houses Iran troops, and kills 7 of them, leading to Iran forging a united northern front against Israel on the eve of its 70th anniversary, which is today. In light of escalated tensions on Israel's northern border, the Jewish state is faced with a new reality on the eve of its historic 70th birthday, according to statements issued on Monday by Defense Minister Avigdor Lieberman. The Lebanese and Syrian armies, the Hezbollah terror organization, and Shia militias in Syria are converging into a united northern front led by Iran. So the issues continue to mount. Then you've got reports about Saudi Arabia offering to send troops into Syria, and I kind of see it as a shift in battle plan. If you take troops from take troops from Saudi Arabia and put them in Syria, then maybe American troops and Israeli troops can focus on another area, maybe Iran. In relation to this northern front being formed by Iran, obviously Israel has said that they've said here, but just as we have always known to provide a decisive response both on the northern and southern fronts, I am sure that we'll be able to look this new reality in the eye and meet it with determination and strength. We will continue to guard our sovereignty and defend our citizens against any threat. So we know that Israel have said that they believe that Iran is planning a revenge attack on Israel, and they may possibly launch that from Syria, where they've been sending military equipment and they have troops stationed. The question is, would they do it on Israel's 70th anniversary? There's a lot of reasons for them to do so if they wanted to send a message. So we'll see. And in relation to my thinking on the the evidence of this Syria chemical attack, I think this report by Anne Wright covers it really, really well. So I'm just going to read it. It's not that long. So just a few hours before the arrival in Syria of UN chemical weapons inspectors to investigate the use of chemicals in Douma, a Damascus suburb where last week 42 persons were reportedly killed, the attack against Syrian government chemical facilities by the US and its British and French allies with neither UN nor congressional authorization is a bit suspicious, to put it mildly. For the three Western nations to bomb before the international inspectors from the Organization for the Prohibition of Chemical Weapons could check the bodies of those killed for chemicals, take soil samples, talk to survivors, and compare the results with what is in the Syrian government chemical facilities is bewildering, unless the US, UK, and France knew the UN inspectors were going to find nothing to substantiate their assessment without any evidence, but with merely a high possibility the three countries were going to attack Syria anyway. With the alphabet super militias in Syria hired and equipped by the US, UK, France, Turkey, Saudi Arabia, Iraq, Iran, Russia, the UAE, Qatar, and Israel, each group has the capability of executing a Douma attack. Chemical attacks are easy to do, as I've said before, especially by groups that have access to the targeted area and to chemicals that can be used as weapons. And Russia has blamed Britain for being involved in the attack. The question of why a group would execute such an attack should leave fingerprints on the operation. What would be the purpose for the Syrian government to use chemicals when they know Western countries are itching to use missiles to hit locations their militias have been unable to reach? Would the Syrian government and their Russian allies purposefully use chemicals to invite an attack? Are militia groups trying to keep their international sponsors and need an immediate reason to get continued funding, especially when President Trump said last week that he wants to pull 2,000 US troops out of Syria? Proof of responsibility for the attack was still missing the day before the missile strikes, when Secretary of Defense Jim Mattis said the US is looking for evidence, and the British government merely said it is highly likely the Syrian government did the attack. This US strike follows in the line of other presidential administrations that have ordered US military attacks that have gotten our country, or your country, into civil wars, invasions, and occupations by telling Congress and the American people lies. A few examples are: remember the Maine, Cuba, remember the Tonkin Gulf attack, Vietnam, remember US medical students at risk, Grenada, remember I saw Saddam's troops throw Kuwaiti babies out of incubators, Iraq War I, remember Iraq's weapons of mass destruction, Iraq War II, remember the earlier gas attacks in Syria, which the British Parliament refused to authorize an attack on the Syrian government because it was unclear who was responsible, and Obama threw the decision of a US attack to Congress, which to their credit voted no. Remember Gaddafi is going to massacre the people of Benghazi and is giving Viagra to his troops to rape the women, Libya. Remember the nerve gas attack in Salisbury, England, that still has not been linked to Russia. Remember Russia's March 17th warning that the US was planning to stage a chemical attack in Syria to provoke a military response. Remember that? President Trump has been played by the war hawks in his cabinet, CIA Director Mike Pompeo and his new National Security Advisor, the eternal warmonger John Bolton. Meanwhile, the people of Syria continue to be killed by the bombings from all sides. That is a good report. That is a very good report, and I just wanted to bring it to you guys to share with you what is going on. I think this remember reference to all the different times we've been told things that have been going on which turn out not to be true and have been reasons for invasions, occupations, civil wars, and world wars. It's just an eye opener. It just goes to show you that what we're told is only part truth, and in some cases all lie. So it's always important to go searching for the information for yourself. Try not to use just one source. Try and corroborate with other sources. If you have the ability, go out and do the researching yourself. It's important to be informed in this time of deception, false news, misleading references, and information that just contains no veracity. You guys have a good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and God bless.